This is my journey from South Africa going to Ethiopia, from Ethiopia going to England. I still remember when I was in Africa, going to the river, seeing all the clean water with no chemicals. I could wash my hands, I could wash my face without any hassles. Most rivers in Europe, they're so infested with chemicals. I still remember my kids saying, "Dad, are we allowed to play in the river?" And I said, "Kids, yes, because the rivers in Africa, the water might be dirty, but the water is very clean. It could be muddy, but it's very clean." Sitting inside a flight, I was thinking, I'm about to take off. When will I see Africa again? So many questions in my mind. I was thinking. But I have to be positive and remember that Africa is the motherland. I have to remember that Africa is my home. As I was said there, the flight started reversing, slowly and crashing out of the loading bay. Ndikhumbula kuti ileli huba ndolibona leni kakale. Africa is very warm. Africa is lovely. The life in Africa is absolutely different from the life in Europe. In Europe, you stay with your neighbors, but the neighbors that you'll never talk to. You're always indoors. Most people, they're always busy. You don't have enough time to go and visit your relatives because everybody's always busy running around going to work, which is absolutely different in Africa. You walk around in Africa, you see people that you know, and it's like you know the whole village. Not even the whole village, the whole ward. Not even the whole ward. I mean, a huge area with lots of populations of people that still always know you. I was sitting looking through the window, thinking, now our flight is on the runway. I could see some flights which seems to be parked there for a very long time. I think these 3 flights were parked ever since during the time of the COVID, because they look like they're no longer in function. As you know that during COVID time, we lost a lot of flights and so many flights were scrapped. So I think these flights as well, they don't seem to be functional no more as far as I'm concerned. I think these are scraps just parked there for display or for remembrance that COVID had a huge impact in our lives and also within the aviation. I kept looking through the window, thinking. A lot was going through my mind and just wondering, now is the takeoff time. As the engines were buzzing, I could hear all the combustion, I could hear all the air saying, yeah, now we're facing reality. I'm saying goodbye, Africa. Goodbye, beautiful country. Goodbye, South Africa. Goodbye, Botswana. Goodbye, Zimbabwe. Now is the time to fly. On this particular day, temperatures in Africa were about 35 degrees Celsius. It was very hot. But the sad part of it, pilot also announced that where we're going, it's -5 degrees, which means it's very, very cold in England. Looking through the window, I could see all the buildings. It's always nice to see all the skyscrapers, and it's always nice to see all buildings, from the air. I like the view of being on there. I really enjoy it. Hopefully one day I shall own my own helicopter or my own flight that I could fly around the world, go wherever I want to, and enjoy all these beautiful views. I should be thankful that it is possible for me to fly and see the world from up above. Some people, they've never experienced what I've seen before, what I've experienced myself. I still remember at some point when I was still young, when I was flying, I heard one of the guys who I sat next to and said, "Why are these wings so strong that they could lift such a huge aircraft, lift it up in the sky?" And the guy said, "These are absolutely unbreakable. They were built with so much knowledge. They were built with so much greatness that it's even more safer to fly than to drive a car." Looking down, I think the area that I could see now, I was trying to zoom it a bit more closer. I think these are areas of Sandton or Kempton Park in Johannesburg. It was a beautiful day. On this day I thought that it was just going to rain, but it was a very sunny day. It never rained on this particular day. Clouds are such a great thing to experience, to go closer to them. One might think that clouds are something which is solid, or there is what inside the clouds. Yes, we know that clouds produces rain, but flying through the clouds, you always know that it's just mist. It's just a cloud. There's no one in there. But God, with His greatness, He knows how to, produce water from these clouds. They are dry clouds, but water could come out from the clouds. Still watching the view, still saying goodbye, Africa, from deep down my heart. But growing up, it used to be wonderful flying out. It used to be great when I used to say, well, I'm flying going to Europe, but not anymore. When you grow up, then you tend to realize that there's so many things that you're missing, especially when you're not in Africa. There is money in Africa, there is money in Europe, but the life in Europe is absolutely different. It's like each man for himself, but God for us all. The child who's crying reminds me of my own, but currently at the moment they are in school. Hopefully one day I'll be able to have time with them, and I'll be able to rejoice and have enough time with them. Now is the time to go through clouds. As you can see, clouds, they just dry. The wing of the plane is just dry. It's not as wide as one might think that flying through clouds, you might be worried because of the water. As I've said before, there's no water in the clouds. Still seeing all the beautiful view from up above. And one thing that I realize as well is that when going through clouds, there's a lot of turbulence that I experience. I still remember at some point, elder people, they used to say, when you're inside an aeroplane, when you crossing a river, you always feel a huge impact on turbulences. Or if you're flying over mountains, you always be able to feel the turbulences, but which is not true. Turbulences are being caused either by the airflow or by the clouds, the density of clouds. They can also cause turbulences when you fly through clouds. Yes, geographically on ground, there is when you go through some mountainous area, because the wind goes up and down around mountains, which causes swivel that can cause turbulences. But it's not the mountain itself that an aeroplane can detect and say. It's not the mountain itself that an aeroplane can detect to be very bumpy. Being bumpy is called turbulences. Every time when you're flying, you always learn something. Looking through the window, you can see quite a number of different things. At some point, I never thought that I would be able to see some monuments or some buildings from up in the sky. I thought that the airplane always fly too high. Aeroplanes. It's of greatness to see all these views from up above, especially in the vegetation. I was trying to see how is the view from up above.
የመቀመጫ ቀበቷችሁን በመፍታት መንቀሳቀስ ትችላላችሁ። በተቀመጣችሁበት ጊዜ ሁሉ የመቀመጫ ቀበቷችሁን ታጥቃችሁ እንድትቀመጡ ይመከራል። እንዲሁም ከአሁን ሰዓት ጀምሮ ላፕቶፕና ሌሎች ኤሌክትሮኒክስ መሳሪያዎቻችሁን መጠቀም የምትችሉ መሆኑን እናሳውቃለን። እናመሰግናለን።
Ladies and gentlemen, all these views, these are just the announcements from the pilots, whereby
it is always recommended to keep your seatbelt fastened while you're seated. You may now turn off your electronic devices such as calculators, CD players and laptop computers. Thank you.
When taking off, everybody's being told to turn off the mobile phones, tablets and laptops, all your electronic gadgets. You're not allowed to turn them on up until you're up in the sky. That was an announcement from the pilot or from the co-pilot or from whoever is in charge with all the activities inside the airplane, that now you can turn on your equipment, you can turn on your mobile phones. Is that inside an airplane there is a Wi-Fi that you can turn on, and there is a Wi-Fi that you can use while you're up above in the sky. These are lovely views from the sky. As you can see, these are clouds. They look so funny from up in the sky. As you've seen before, that the aeroplane flies through the sky and it goes up. Even though when it's raining, it rains down. You'll be looking at the clouds from down under the aeroplane. Whenever the pilot detects some turbulences, he always advises all the passengers to put on their seatbelts to ensure that whenever there is low compression, nobody will be hurt. Is to know that there is a possibility that the flight can just sometimes swing downwards, through the turbulences. So with your seatbelt settled next to this river were people without a king. So people without a king, they name themselves Tashayashe, Tahayahe. We don't have a king. Most of these rivers, they were named from something that happened historically. Not only the rivers, but including the mountains or most of the territories around South Africa and Zimbabwe. Many in the areas of Bay Bridge where you see Mapungubwe Game Reserve. This is the mighty Limpopo River, the one which is so infested with crocodiles. I've seen some people, they go to Limpopo River to fetch water from Limpopo River. It was great to keep looking onto the view in the screen inside the aeroplane to see how far we're going. As you can see, the flight was going at 921 kilometers per hour, and we're flying at 11,897 altitude. We were passing some of the areas which I'm quite familiar with. But here we're flying over Zimbabwe in the place called Ngezi, flying towards Ethiopia. The ground speed, as you can see, the flight is something that goes very fast, 922 kilometers per hour. And the distance to a destination was 2,100. These are some of the graphs that you can see, which verifies all the height, time, and from where we are, where we're coming from, and time from where we're going. It's so wonderful to see so many lights that some countries that don't have load shedding. South Africa is so much being impacted with load shedding, whereby sometimes it goes dark and generators have been buzzing everywhere. But here you can see that the lights in Ethiopia, it's just so wonderful, it's so clear and so nice. We were reaching Ethiopia airport and we were just about to land in Ethiopia. A great country which has never been colonized. Ethiopia is the only country that has never been colonized in Africa. But I know that some other people, they don't know that. Now is the landing time, landing Ethiopia, whereby again, very shortly on our video part 2, we'll be taking off from Ethiopia and flying, going to England. I enjoyed my flight because also these Ethiopian pilots, they're very, very good. And also they know how to manage all the turbulences. I still remember at some point, I just couldn't feel anything. I felt like the flight was not moving, but the flight was flying at 922 miles per hour, kilometers per hour, which was very fast compared to a car which could drive 120 kilometers per hour. It was passing during the night that we were arriving in Ethiopia. A great place to be, and a wonderful place to be, that I very cherished and enjoyed.